So today we are looking at an upcoming game called Rules of Engagement: The Gray State. When the devs reached out asking me if I'd be willing to share this game with all of you, looking at a couple of their trailers, I said sure, so long as I'm allowed to say whatever I want to say, positive or negative, and they agreed because they're very confident in what they have here, that they have an interesting and unique spin on the tactical shooter genre, which is what this technically fits into. Those guys got demolished. I'm sorry, that was cool. Sorry. So of course, thank you Gray State Studio for sponsoring the video. To give you the quick and easy rundown on what the game is, as it's been described to me, it is a tactical RPG shooter where fairness is of the utmost priority, which is going to make sense in a second when I describe how the loot system works. And it also has been built up around what they're calling the horror verse. As you can see in these gameplay clips, they describe it as having a graveyard of nightmares available for the developers to put into this universe. They specifically say that you can think of any iconic monster from any movie, book, or creepypasta you've ever loved, and chances are that something like that is waiting for you inside of this horror verse known as the Gray State. It seems to me like they don't want to get pinned down to any particular sub-genre or niche of horror. They want to have the option to do pretty much anything, which is genuinely kind of cool. It means that the world is their oyster. They can do whatever they want in seasonal updates or in additional modes or something. If they want to have a creepy hand monster that bites at you, or mummies, or giant Bigfoot looking monsters or spiders, they can do it all. How the game works is that you play as what's known as a Strider, basically a high level operative that's been hired by some mysterious group to venture into an area called the Gray State, where all of these horrific monstrosities and alien artifacts are present. It's an unstable dimension where you are tasked with collecting the Vertex, which is a priceless artifact at the center of the map. While pushing in to collect the Vertex, you're going to be fighting all of these monsters and other players as well, because it is a PvPvE game. But like I said earlier, the gameplay loop is focused primarily on fairness and player choice and player capability and skill. And I genuinely find this really, really refreshing. When you load into the match, everybody starts on an equal playing field. No fear of like the other team starting with better loot or more expensive loot because they've put 5,000 hours into the game or something. Everybody starts on the same level playing field every single match. This means that each and every round's success is determined by your capabilities within the game, not by how hardcore the other team is in comparison to you. And ultimately, within each and every run, you will have the choice to either leave early through a personal exfil point for guaranteed profit and reward, taking what you gathered with you, or you can go for the high risk reward strat and push for the Vertex that I described earlier. All of this is paired with a deep action RPG system with vast talent trees for each of the playable classes. They actually have an upcoming alpha playtest, which I'll talk about more in just a few minutes, but within this playtest, there's 3 different classes that you can try, each of which can be built out based on how you like to play the characters. They have the Sledge, who's basically the Juggernaut class, running forward with a shield and a hammer, the Pyro, who uses gas effects and fire damage to build out AoE effects controlling the battlefield, and the Phantom, who is the assassin class character that uses distance and precision more than anything else. And when I ask them about their inspirations for the game, which is something I ask all developers because it's just genuinely a good question and something you can figure out, like what are their priorities, what are they looking to achieve in the game. They told me that one of the primary points of inspiration for the game is actually Path of Exile, which if you don't know that game somehow, it is just about the most action RPG of any action RPG. It's crazy. Like the level of depth is insane. In this same vein with the RPG mechanics, because each of the different playable archetypes has their own skill tree and talents, it means that your particular build can be completely different from somebody else's. Like if you're playing as Sledge, the heavy assault guy, you can choose to go with the Demolition Sledge archetype, where you equip the explosive hammer talent, and basically you turn every shield bash into a big explosive concussive blast that's perfect for breaching into tight environments. Or you could choose the Artillery Sledge, which is a specific set of talents that are for turning your player character into what is effectively a gigantic artillery cannon that can be used for shelling fortifications from a distance. Same with Pyro, where you could take the Flame Surge to massively extend your flamethrower's reach, or you could go for Thermal Overclock, where your flame turns blue and does insane damage as the weapon overheats, meaning you want to get it right to that cusp of overheating in order to deal out maximum damage. And all of this contributes to making each and every single round feel unique and different,
good. Again, not just for you as your player character, but also for everybody else that you're fighting against from match to match.
So if that's what they're shooting for here in terms of complexity and depth of customization and build crafting, there's going to be a lot here. I'm just saying. But now that you understand basically what this game is, I can offer some of my extended thoughts on what they're doing here. For one, I really like the idea that they're fixing what's commonly referred to as like gear fear in like extraction shooters and games like that, where you're going up against other teams, because inevitably what will happen is that you will go against another team that has better loot than you do because they've played the game more and they're more experienced and they're willing to take that risk. And it can create engagements that don't necessarily feel fair. Like you die and you lose, not necessarily because you played worse, but just simply because the other team happened to bring better loot with them when the match started. I won't name any names, but I've played a number of extraction shooters this year, and that's been a problem in all of them, and it can be really frustrating. And so seeing that this game is built from the ground up, that nope, every match, everybody starts on a level playing field, that's just nice and refreshing. It keeps things exciting for me because it means if I get down by another team, it's because I kind of deserved it, probably, or they just got really lucky or something, but it's not because they happen to just have grinded out 5,000 hours and they had a bunch of excess loot that they were willing to bring into the match. Or God forbid, in some games where it's like pay to win and they spend money to get better loot and stuff, that's not a problem here. This entire game is being built to be free to play, meaning it's accessible. Anybody can try it for free because it's free to play. And the only monetization within the game is cosmetic exclusively, which again, I love. There is no concern over pay to win, over people who have more money getting better loot or better experience or buffs or perks or something. It is literally just cosmetic, and that is so refreshing. And that's one of the things I've had to say to some of these studios making games like this is, I don't like the monetization. I don't like the idea that you're charging $70 for a multiplayer game. Like, I don't think that's a great idea. And this game just immediately off the bat is like, nope, player fairness at the start, free to play. It's very, very accessible. As a result of that, there's no barrier to entry in terms of cost. And the only monetization we're doing is cosmetic. It's just checking off all of the boxes. I love that. I also love to hear combining tactical shooter with a game like Path of Exile. That is something that really, really excites me because Path of Exile and other action RPGs like it are extremely dense. And as a result of that build crafting that they offer, give you tons of replayability and a very long runway in terms of player experience and long-term progression. This doesn't seem like one of those games that you grind for like thousands of hours and all you got was like a cool little trinket or something. It seems like there's actually reason to put a lot of effort into build crafting from match to match, which again, I like. I think that's cool. It adds depth and complexity. I really like that. It's also my understanding that the variety of monsters and horror elements that they have in this gameplay trailer that we're looking at now, that's just a taste of what will be in the full alpha playtest and of course the full game itself. And that means that from match to match, you're going to be fighting different monsters, different horrors, and every time it'll be different. Sometimes it'll be these little spider creatures like the Plague from Halo. Other times it's mimics. Other times it's mummy looking creatures. Other times it's these guys that just sprint towards you. Other times it's gigantic, skinny, Slenderman looking creatures, tentacles hanging from the ceiling, gigantic octopuses that are just sitting in the attic somewhere. Like, the idea is that from match to match, it's constantly changing, constantly evolving. It is never really the same. And as a result, your tactics and approach will change because fighting this thing is going to be different than fighting the little bitty guys that are running around. And again, I find that really exciting and interesting. I just think that that's a really good way to do it. And with all of these games, and this is kind of my broader point, you got to have a hook. You got to have something that's unique, something that sets your game apart. And I think they're doing that here. They have some things that are genuinely fresh that I like, that are not just copying exactly what all the other games in this tactical extraction like genre have done. And I like that. I think it's very encouraging and intriguing. And again, with all of this, it's made so much easier to just say, try it. Go to Steam, links below, wishlist the game, check it out when the alpha playtest drops. Because it's free to play, you can just try it and see for yourself. That low barrier to entry is so nice to have, so people can just try it, and maybe they end up falling absolutely in love with it because it's really unique, or maybe it's just not for you, or it's not for you yet, and a future update will bring it to your attention or check off your boxes. But the point is, you'll be able to try it, you'll be able to sink your teeth into it because they've made it approachable in that way. And I think they're doing pretty much everything right, which again is just really nice to see, because unfortunately nowadays not a lot of studios do everything right, or even some things right. So it's nice to see. So all this to say, go check out Rules of Engagement: The Gray State, wishlisted on Steam. It's free to do so, and the game is free to play when it eventually launches as well. Check it out, links below. Thank you to the devs for sharing an early look at it with me, and therefore with you as well. I really love that, and I find it very encouraging that they're confident enough to share something like this early with someone like me. So good on them. But I can see why. I think they're doing pretty much everything right at this point. They just got to get the game done, polish it up, and put it out there for people to try. And when they have it ready to try, I will be one of those giving it a shot. But again, thank you Gray State Studios for sponsoring this video, and thank you guys for watching it. Until next time, my friends, much love, and I'll see you in the next video. Hugs and kisses. Bye-bye.